Hi, everyone. My name's Tim, and I am the manager of school visits at Harbourfront Center. And welcome to our Thursday crafternoon. So, if you're just joining us and you're not sure what to expect, starting to this Thursday and every week, we'll be doing a live craft on Thursday afternoons here on Facebook as well as on Instagram. A couple things to let you know about. You probably saw on our social media a list of the suggested materials that you might need for this. So I'm going to go over those materials really quickly, but I just want to share with you a bit about Harbourfront Center and what school visits is all about. So school visits at Harbourfront Center would normally be having up to 26,000 kids join us on site at Harbourfront Center for hands-on experiential learning. And what we mean by that is by making, doing, dancing, trying something out. And Harbourfront Center and the wonderful staff that I work with are so used to seeing all of your smiling faces in and around the classrooms at Harbourfront Center. So this way I get to connect with some of you and get creative and get my hands dirty as well today. So again, if you're just joining us, my name's Tim Walker and I am the manager of school visits. And this afternoon, we are going to be making sock puppets. So I'm going to show you an example of one that I made a few minutes ago. Here we go. This is one of our sock puppet friends. And he's got a little mouth inside here as well. There he is. Perfect. And I'm just going to review or remind you about what a puppet is. So boys and girls, or adults of all ages who might be watching, when we think about puppets, there's a couple of things to remember. Lots of different types of puppets out there. Can you think of any of them? Yeah, for sure. So there's sock puppets that we make with socks. Thank you for our friends for giving me a suggestion on that one. There's also what we call finger puppets. So you can have 5 different characters on your fingers. There are also things like shadow puppets, so moving in the light and creating different shadow figures. There's also what we call marionettes, which are string puppets, so someone's holding them and working with the strings that way. So another thing to keep in mind or to think about when we're talking about puppets is that there's the puppet, which represents a character. So a character could be a real person, could be an imaginary or made-up person, could be an animal, could be anything at all. And the person that is making the puppet move, we call them the puppeteer. So that's some new words today. We talked about character, so who or what the story is all about. And we talked about the puppeteer, the person like yourself who's going to be making the puppet move. Okay? So I'm going to share with you the materials that we suggested. And we're going to do this activity a little bit differently because we're at home, or I'm at home today, and I'm sure many of you are as well. And there won't be the same access to materials like we have at Harbourfront Center. So sock. So I found an extra sock, a spare sock that I just can't find the other one. So that's the one I'm using. You might want to ask your mom, dad, aunts, uncles, brothers, or sisters, whoever is responsible for the laundry or doing the laundry, which is the best sock to use. Okay. What else did I pick up? I used this fabric. It's part of a reusable cloth bag that I had lying around the house. So I've got some red. I used an old t-shirt, so I've got some white fabric as well. And this is part of what's called a bandana. So I'll fold it out. It's a big piece of fabric. And I'm sure like many of you, I like to get dressed up for things like Halloween or special events or parties or celebrations. So I'm going to use that today as well. Okay. So again, spare sock lying around the house, fabric, anything will do, anything you can find in your home. And I also collected a whole bunch of buttons. So if you're wondering where to get buttons from, I'll show these a little bit. There we go. If you're wondering where to get buttons from, many clothes that we've purchased, they have sewn on the inside seam buttons for you in case you lose a button or break a button. And that's where I got all my buttons from. So again, materials that are just around your house today. Of course, I also have some construction paper and things like that, and just any colored paper scraps that I might use a little bit later on for something creative. Okay. This is also glue, white glue. If you don't have glue, you can use tape. You might have to work with the tape a little bit and replace it every so often, but that is what you can work with. Okay, so we've had a chance to think about what a puppet is. We've looked around at all of our different materials, and so I think we're now ready to get started. And today, when we're thinking about the character that we'd like our puppet to be, we want to think about how puppets can help us share our stories. So whether it's a story about yourself, or about somebody else, or something else, or an animal in the community, puppets are really great for helping us express ourselves, okay? So, first things first, everyone get your socks. I'm sure many of you have this. Yeah. So, what you're gonna do is, this is our sock, and you're gonna see this part here, which is where your foot would normally be. Right here is the heel, and right here is where our toes would be, okay? So the toe is gonna end up on the end of my fingertips, and this back here, the heel, is kind of like the bum of your puppet, okay? And it's gonna end up on the back of my wrist. So watch. So again, the toes are gonna end up on my fingertips, and the bum of the puppet is gonna end up on the back of my wrist, okay? So we're gonna roll that down. Perfect. So again, we've got that little bulge here, that's the bum, that's on my wrist. And then look, when we start looking at the puppet from the side, the character is almost coming to life already, isn't it? There you go. So you can see you can open the mouth, see inside, and close the mouth. Now I want you to look carefully, because this is going to help us, and everyone's hand's a bit different, think about where our eyes and our mouth are going to go. So, eyes, right up here on your knuckles, mouth inside here. So we're going to cut some fabric today that's going to be on the inside of our mouths, okay? We're going to slide the puppet off our hands. We're going to take the bum of the puppet and we're going to put it flat on our table. So I'm going to lift up my camera for a second and show everyone how I'm getting started. So you can see you've got right here, the mouth is closed and the bum is lying flat on the table, okay? Now, the most important thing about that is that we're going to leave our puppet where it is now, because when we're adding the glue, it needs to dry. So we're going to keep working with that. So first things first, we remember eyes, mouth. So the first thing we're going to do is cut open our mouth, and I'm going to use red fabric for my mouth, but you can use any color you like, doesn't matter, okay? And we want to cut a circle, so that's the 2D shape that looks like something round, like a ball, or it can look like a circle that you've seen before. And we're going to cut out a circle from our red fabric. Now, my wonderful friends who are watching, you're all scissor experts, but just a reminder, the sharpest part of a pair of scissors is right here in the middle, and if we're not using them, they should always be closed and on our tables, okay? So we're going to take this, and we're going to cut a nice big circle. And by the way, friends who are watching, I'm seeing all of your wonderful comments, and it looks like we have people watching in some other countries as well, which is super exciting. So welcome. Glad you were able to join us today. Okay, so again, we're cutting out a nice big circle, and it should cover half of our palm and our knuckles. So right here. So I can check that by just holding it up against my hand and thinking, okay, that looks about right. So then we're going to think about gluing. So glue, I'm going to be using white glue. Again, if you don't have glue, glue sticks aren't going to work. You're either going to want white glue or tape, okay? And I'm just going to take my wonderful piece right here, and I'm going to put some dots of glue all around the edges, okay? And this will help us when we're drying. So there you go. You can see my glue dots, and then I'm going to pick up, and then I'm just going to hold it and count till 10, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And next what we're going to do is we're going to close the puppet up like this. So again, you're going to see inside, you've got your mouth, and you're going to close it up like this. And then as I said, we're going to start building our eyes here. So for our eyes, think about our own eyes, right? Look really closely at mine. So you're going to see that there's a white part, there's the colored part, and then there's the black part in the middle. So we want to layer different materials up when we're thinking about building our wonderful eyes. So for that, if you look at my friend that I made earlier, So here I used 2 layers. I used white fabric and then a button, and then I added some eyebrows, okay? So I'm gonna do the same for this one. I'm gonna think about cutting some fabric. So again, if you have someone in your house, a responsible adult who's able to help you cutting, great, or check in with them if they're comfortable with you using scissors by yourself, okay? So we're gonna take the fabric and cut out 2 circles. Dun, dun, dun. I almost always sing a song when I'm cutting, so just get ready. Awesome. So we're just gonna cut out those 2 circles, just like this. Boom, and they don't need to be perfect. There you go. And then we're gonna stick them here on my puppet. So again, I'll just hold that up for everyone to see. I'm gonna glue one here and one here. And remember about where they are on the face so that when we close our palms like this, the eyes will be here on the front, okay? So I'm gonna do that real quick. Again, glue, my glue song. Same thing as last time. And there we go. Okay, and once they're on, just like that, so then again, we're gonna take some buttons and stick them on top as well, okay? So the buttons are gonna be a bit trickier to glue, so you are gonna need to hold them for a couple of seconds. Again, counting to 10 is always my suggestion, okay? And I'm gonna put glue right on the back of the button to hold it in. Okay, boom, there we go. Glue buttons. And if you're like me and you're a bit messy, so I just got a little bit of glue on my fingers, I sometimes keep an extra piece of paper towel around just to dry my hands as well, okay? So we now have, we've done our eyes. And again, we've got that mouth inside. Everything is drying, so we're being really careful with our puppet. So think about other things around our eyes, eyelashes, eyebrows, glasses, anything you might want to add for extra detail. Now's the chance to do that as well, okay? So I might choose today to add some purple, again, just fabric I had around my house, some purple eyebrows. Boom, boom. I'm just gonna cut them. And again, don't worry, nothing has to be perfect, okay? These are your own creations. So my eyebrows, they're not quite the same size, but that's gonna be okay for us for today, okay? And again, we're just gonna glue those on as well. So next, you're gonna think about what you'd like for a nose. So on the puppet that I was working on earlier today that I showed you at the beginning, I used 2 buttons to do the nostril. So those are those things we breathe with, okay? And then I also used some red fabric to look like whiskers or a mustache, okay? So again, anything you like, you can choose. You might even want to think about using some paper scraps to make a whole bunch of whiskers. I think that's what I'm gonna do today, actually. I'm gonna do some whiskers. Perfect, so I just took a triangle and then I cut another triangle out of it. And there you go. And then I can stick this on and it's gonna be the whiskers. So I'm just gonna glue that on and I'll show it up on the camera in a minute, okay, friends? So same thing, whiskers there, and I'm gonna do the same. I had a triangle already, and then I'm gonna cut out a smaller triangle inside, just like that. Awesome, and then we're gonna glue that on as well. Perfect. And then, perfect. So this is what my friend looks like with his whiskers. Awesome, so we've got eyes, eyebrows, whiskers, and then again, you can do anything you like, okay? So the next thing we wanna think about is gonna be the body of the puppet. So what clothing the puppet wants to wear. So when I did my friend this morning, I decided that my friend was just gonna wear a tie. So that's what I went with. But if you want to, you can do anything you like. So that's where the construction paper and other scraps that you might have around your house could come in really useful. So I've got these pieces of construction paper, and I think I'm gonna make a pair of shorts. So something like that they're wearing. So one side is green shorts, one side's orange shorts. I think that's what I'm gonna work on for today. Yeah, let's do that. So really quickly, gonna, boom, there we go. And then he's got a pair of shorts on. Great. So again, I'm just gonna use the white glue on this one. Now I do have a really important note about clothing. So if you're not careful with the clothing, if you wrap it too tight around the puppet, you won't be able to get your wrist back inside. So I know many of my friends want to take fabric and just wrap it all the way around and seal it with glue on the back, but that is tricky, especially for those of us with the larger hands, shall I say. So some of our younger watchers, you'll be able to get your hand inside there, but for any of the responsible adults helping today, it's really tricky to get your hand into the actual puppet if you've wrapped something around the outside of your sock, okay? All right, so today, yeah, I'm dreaming about being on a beach, so I think that's why he or she, they are gonna be wearing shorts today, boom. And my friends, that's pretty much all I'm going to add on my puppet for today. But I want us to think a little bit about what else you could add. So if you had yarn or wool at home, you could think about adding hair. I don't have any at home. I'm so sorry. If you have like string or you have any beads or anything like that, you might want to make a necklace for your puppet, anything that you like. So just using materials available around your house, you can make your very own sock puppet, okay? So once again, at this point, your wonderful puppets, they should stay to dry for about 15 minutes. And once you've made your puppets, there are some awesome things that you can do. So you could be thinking about a puppet show for everyone in your home. So you could think about the characters, so who or what you just created, and how they might have a story to tell, something about themselves. Or if you make a second sock puppet, you can have a performance or a show with 2 different characters, okay? Other things I think that you can do, you could also design what we call the setting. So the setting is where the story takes place. So I've seen amazing examples of students. They'll just take construction paper or just plain white paper and markers, and they'll create a backdrop or something to do your performance in front of. So you'd have your puppets in front of it, and then in the background, something that would share with us the setting. So it could be, you know, in your favorite room, out in the community, could be in the jungle, could be up north where there's lots of snow on the ground, could be on a beach, anywhere you're thinking about, okay? So this was our very first Thursday Crafternoon with me. I'm Tim, again, the manager of school visits here at Harbourfront Center. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to see your sock puppets. So if you can, upload a picture, tag Harbourfront Center, and add hashtag Thursday Crafternoon. I'll be sure to see them, okay? And tune in again next week. So next Thursday, we'll be doing another craft. If you missed this live and you just joined us towards the end today, I'll be going live on Instagram at 2 o'clock. And we'll be uploading this video to our YouTube channel for you to pause if you needed to slow down or if you needed to hear any of those instructions again, okay? Thanks so much for watching. Take care.